was airline AL115 from Delhi to London. It's a Dreamliner, and with me is the man of the moment, the simulation, Mr. Ajit Singh. Sir, welcome to Doordarshan News. The Dreamliner. So my first question associated with it: how can Dreamliner change the fortune for our national carrier, the Air India?
In a sense, you're right. Dreamliner is just one of the components of our plan to make Air India profitable. There are many other problems with them earlier. The kind number of offices they have, number of unproductive assets they have, number of employees they have, the load factor, and all kind unprofitable routes. So, this Dreamliner is a very important component of their plan to become profitable because for technologically it's a new generation airplanes. Fuel accounts to about 50% of operating cost. And we expect the Air India will be saving wherever they fly Dreamliner about 20% saving in fuel costs.
So, but initially we saw there were some hiccups. For 4 months, Dreamliner was grounded across the world.
Yes.
Don't you share that apprehension?
See, anytime new technology comes, you go back to the 320s and everything. Anytime there is a technological innovation, some hiccups are there. That's expected.
So now coming to the larger sector, the aviation sector. So just enumerate three big things which your ministry has done in last 4 years.
See, first thing we did is whether it's 4 years or 5 years or so, big international standard airports, Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Kochi. Second thing is that we allowed private airlines to fly to the neighboring countries or anywhere wherever we have bilaterals. Earlier, Air India was mostly flying there. That's why number of now, see, in last year and a half only, we have allotted 81,000 seats to neighboring countries to the Indian carriers. And we are almost equivalent to the foreign carriers as far as the number of seats that are allotted. Second thing is we have a lot of problems with DGCA in this sense. This sector has grown so fast that DGCA requires a lot of new technical people and all that, and going through that government procedure, hiring them and training them and the salary scales and all that is very cumbersome process. So we're planning to make DGCA, call it Civil Aviation Authority, give them financial autonomy, which means they'll not be dependent on government for their budget.
Sir, my next question will be on the national carrier. When do you think that the Maharaja will regain its past glory?
Well, if you look at it, young man, the days of Maharajas are gone. From that point of view, it's a very tough competitive environment. All over the world, you see the national carriers are not there anymore. But here, government is a big stake in Air India, and we have also made it very clear that government is not in a position and will not provide any more subsidy or anything. Whatever money we are providing now also depends on their meeting the milestones. Every 3 months, the oversight committee with finance and all kind of members looks at the results.
So, but you must have heard about this, that Emirates have now become the de facto airlines national carrier of the country. How did this happen in a sense?
See, we didn't have the facilities. Where were the big airports? You are right. Not only Emirates. If you look Singapore, if you look at Lufthansa, if you look at Hong Kong Airlines, even other Gulf countries, because we didn't have that hub thing. And what is more, our international flight, basically, there were a lot of problems. And now we are facing that problem again because Kingfisher was flying abroad. It's no longer flying. That leaves only two companies which fly abroad, which is Jet and the Air India. And now, in last year or so, the domestic passengers have declined slightly, but international traffic is growing. So how to meet that demand? That's the question. Air India doesn't have the capacity right now. It's growing now a little bit, but still, it doesn't fly to Australia, Europe, USA, many places. Russia, it doesn't fly at all. African continent, it doesn't fly. So that's why these airlines they developed their hubs, their airports, they are flying to all those places. So that's why they have grown.
So my
But now that we have these airports, and we recently cabinet cleared the hub policy also, and now that this thing jet will be flying from 23 places in India. We are their hub abroad to many destinations in the world. So international, and then it will provide the jet at the art deal should provide more competition also for international passengers especially. So things are slowly improving.
So my last question is, fuel contributes a big portion of input cost on airlines.
Yes.
Many believe if the taxation structure of the country is improved, this could help the airlines, especially by introduction of GST. What do you have to say on that?
Did you say about ATF you're talking?
ATF, yeah,
Yeah,
ATF.
yeah, yeah. ATF, yes, our costs are about 20% higher than neighboring countries, and then to that you add the taxes charged by different states up to almost 30% some places, and ATF accounts for 50% of the operating cost. Now we have tried and we've written to the state governments, we have talked to them to cut down the taxes, but they are all suffering from fiscal problems. So we last year we allowed the airlines to import the ATF directly, because once they import for their own use, they won't have to pay these VAT taxes and all that. But see, that requires there were a lot of problems came up because you require infrastructure.
So do you think the introduction of GST could improve the situation, the GST goods and service tax?
I'm saying if they agree, if the states agree to cut down the taxes, that will improve things a lot.
Okay, sir. That was the aviation. This is Ajit Singh talking exclusively to Doordarshan News on board the Dreamliner from Delhi to